So I've been trying to record the video about this build for the last half a day and it didn't really work out any time to make me satisfied, so I'm just gonna go with the flow. Whatever it might be a bit shit quality, I don't care anymore. I just want to say what I want to say. I'll be cracking a lot. I will be having a long pauses to think what to say, but I hope you can bear with me for the couple of minutes. So back to the build at hand. You probably read the title, so you know it's Ichimonji build. Oh, what a shitty sword that is. Well, it might be buffed into 0.60, who knows? We will see. But now, after God knows how many attempts at making this build, I finally made something that a bit resembles a working build that maybe can even map on like tier 5 or 6 maps, maybe even higher. Well, we'll see about that. So we're using Ichimonji times 2 and a core of the build, Mantra of Flames. We're using a lot of goddamn buffs, alphas how to make buffs better. Our tree is fucking everywhere. Oh, by the way, we're using icecrash and we're not grabbing any AoE, mostly because we don't really need it, because this build is shit anyways. But you can probably grab AoE if you feel like, or if you want to make another variant. We're running icecrash with crit and avatar of fire and call to fire to make it all fire. So we're doing a lot of fire damage, we're critting a lot, so we're burning a lot, and it's burning faster because we're using Diadian down. We're having a lot of crit multi from legacy face breakers, other stuff, Negamutiki for a lot of fire damage, some life, fire res, wed, whatever, Alpha's Howl for extra level on our main auras. We can be frozen, which is nice. Rest is like feeling you don't have to use belly, you can use rare chest. We put our ice crash in there, ice crash, call to fire, fire penetration, wed, increased critical strikes, 6 link would be increased AoE probably. So we're attacking pretty fast, dual wielding, a lot of attack speed. You can probably add in something like Ember Wake, Taming, and do a lot of other, a lot of multiple ignites and just go to town. It will probably be better for single target. Hard to tell, I don't have neither Ember Wake or Taming, so I can test it, and it would be probably a nightmare to cap resistances without pair of good rare rings. The tree with Scion, Ascendant, God knows why, which is probably better, but what the hell. Assassin for extra crit chance, Chieftain because for some reason we're using Rejuvenation Totem, but we'll get back to it in a while. Couple of jewels to feel life, some crit multi, damage, attack speed, resistance, everything you need on jewels. Like there's no good guide on jewels, you just grab what you can get, what is good for your build and put it. Then flasks, nothing special. You can use the flask that gives you Holy Might, unless it's changed like the silver flask, because silver flask no longer gives you a buff, it's a flask that gives you onslaught, not the flask that makes you have onslaught. Well, it's complicated, but essentially they've changed it so it no longer gives you onslaught buff and flask buffs at the same time. Well, flask are not exactly buffs, but we can handle this. So if you think you can get extra stuff from Mantra of Flame, Ichimonji's with onslaught via silver flask, well, tough shit. It doesn't work. You have to get some other source of onslaught. You can spend 3 points on Graceful Assault, your choice. Now, other than our link that I've showed, we're running Grace and Anger in Alpha, Arctic Armor because it's easier to paint 2 of colors than 3 of colors on Alpha's Howl. We're a bit tight on mana, well, we will be as I reserve everything, so we're running all the Whirling Blades with Fortify on Blood Magic. Also we have the Rallying Cry on blood magic with rejuvenation totem because we can't really handle the mana costs and play comfortably. Flame golem, blood magic with blood rage, so much blood stuff, Jesus Christ. Rest is just our buffs. So basically we have 7k without any buffs, and every single buff that even wouldn't give us normally any damage like grace is also giving our damage via mantra flames. So it's like 300 elemental damage per buff. So we're running about 11 to 12 buffs, which is like 3.3k damage. We run clarity because it's like free and gives us some mana sustain, and of course 300 DPS. Okay, we have 31 mana left. This is pretty comfy to use our icecrash, whirl between packs of monsters, and what else? Also the Fortify is a buff that will give us more stuff. A Flame Golem, Blood Rage, Rallying Cry. Like without anything really charges, we have 20. Well, we're at 24k with the Rallying Cry, with all the charges, with with all the buffs, flasks and whatnot. We can reach like 42, 47k. If we put Val Haste, we can probably try getting around 50k DPS, which is probably map viable, maybe even garden viable. Hard to tell, you would need to dodge a lot. Like our life is a huge source of problems, so it might just be the one big shortcoming of this build. As I said, we have the with the chieftain, so when we're doing single target, it's a good idea to put totem. It presumably is also a buff, though I don't see it as a buff because they're usually indicated green, and hard to tell because we get this 30% increased damage while having a totem. Vicky says it's a buff, we will never know. Also Rallying Cry is a huge source of damage and mana sustain, mostly because the buff from Rallying Cry is scaled with our Ichimonji by extra 20%. On top of that we get another stack of Mantra Flames, and it's overall pretty alright. I think it's very underrated on a variety of builds. Like if you have a red socket on your gear, you can probably put it in and it probably won't hurt you. You can just use it sometimes. And it's a source of free damage. Not exactly perfect recording setup, but I guess you will get the idea. Well, it's doing stuff. It's not a very hard map, but you can probably just kill shit pretty well. Obviously, the hard part is juggling all these goddamn buffs and all the goddamn buttons. If you don't like multiple buttons, it's probably not a build for you. Like 37k. Let's try carrying this momentum to the boss. It's not awful. Well, it's pretty bad probably. But I guess you have already left the video and you're not watching me kill the boss anyways. So props to this one or probably no person that's watching this right now. Well, you can probably get some sort of minion life on the golem, so it's more relevant because I see it dying all the goddamn time. You can put all the skills on cast when damage taken setups, so it's more hands off, but then you have less direct control over it, so that's it. We're running Grace for like 7k ish evasion, and we have flasks to bring us to like oh, Bazaar Shard. It brings us to about 60% damage, physical damage mitigation, so it's pretty workable, I guess. I wouldn't recommend this as a league starter because it requires just a bit too much of a decent gear to be just viable, not even good. So I guess that's about covers everything. Thank you for watching if you stuck for this long, and see you when the Legacy League starts.